Welcome back. Well, 80% of people who work in the arts or cultural industry say they stay silent about supporting conservative ideologies for fear they'll be bullied. This was revealed in a new Freedom of Expression survey conducted by Arts Professionals, a UK arts publication. Joining me now for our Tuesday panel, social commentator Prue MacSween from Sydney and former Queensland Premier Campbell Newman in Brisbane. Doesn't surprise me, Prue. Most people zip it if they're conservative.
Well, exactly. These days, you know, these sanctimonious elites are virtually bullying people into silence. Whatever happened to free speech, freedom of expression, which they're supposed to foster? So it's really undeniably bullying in the workplace. We need to button up because all of us have a pile on if we have a conservative view, unfortunately.
Yeah, it'd be a bit like if I wore a Campbell Newman or, you know, a Tony Abbott T-shirt to the gym, Campbell. It wouldn't be, well, I wouldn't be greeted with a friendly good morning, would I? It's pretty tough being a conservative.
No,
and I think that's where the debate on Bettina Arndt is also through the prism of that as well. Reprehensible comments, but how much of it relates to the comments and how much of it relates to her stance? That's certainly the argument of Pauline Hanson.
Well, look, it's interesting that the Labor Party have chosen to stick their oar in here and to make it hyper-political, because while, of course, I don't agree with the way that Bettina expressed herself, really the issue here is that the Labor Party, cannot stand the fact that she is constantly challenging the orthodoxy of their left-wing view of the world. And, you know, I'm sorry that Bettina has sort of said it the way that she had. I think it didn't reflect well on her, but for her then to be subjected to this pile-on is completely disproportionate in the circumstances.
Yeah, well, I find her comments reprehensible, but Prue, the Parliament passed a motion which is essentially meaningless, I have to say, for people at home, has no sort of real power, but it condemns her comments and it calls on the Secretary of the Governor-General to reappraise her award of an AM in January. Is that fair enough?
Well, I understand why they're doing it, Peter. You know, it was reprehensible, you know, unforgivable, really. But I was looking at the award that she was, or the honour that she was awarded, and it was for services to community as a social commentator and gender equity advocate for men. So, on the one hand, that's what she was getting this for. And now, of course, when she comes out, and again, I do not agree with anything she said. I think it was reprehensible. But, you know, you can't have it both ways. This is what she was awarded to do.
Campbell, I'm going to just run into one issue before we go to the end of the show, but the New South Wales government, yet another review in TAFEs. We're really wrong-footing trade education. We seem to be turning things over and reviewing it and not giving it much time to succeed. Where do we go from here? You've been a Premier.
Well, TAFE does need urgent reform, and the trouble is it's in the grip of the unions, and also it's sort of subjected to the nostalgia again of the Labor Party and their views of a disappearing work, sort of economy and work set of workplaces. This has to be driven by business and the needs of business, people who ultimately are going to employ people. The TAFE sector really needs to completely be overhauled. It shouldn't be about buildings and infrastructure and staff. It should be about the needs of those who are going to the workplace. So it's admirable in terms of what Premier Berejiklian's saying, you know, they're targeting, but I hope there is a really strong involvement by business at senior level and also small and medium-sized enterprises, because otherwise it will just be another review.
Yeah, look, I think we threw the baby out with the bathwater a long time ago when we got rid of formalised trade schools, but maybe I'm just being old-fashioned there. Got to leave it there. Prue MacSween, Campbell Newman, thanks very much for your time.